Hello everyone, Josh here with SSS, bringing y'all another OUTERPLANE video. But before we get into today's video, definitely go check out our second channel, SSS Media. You can find it in the link in the description below, as well as our pinned comment. We're going to have a lot of gacha related news over there. We're going to be doing weekly podcasts soon. We have news concerning a lot of the newest games that are coming out, especially like games like Reverse 1999, Black Clover Mobile, etc., etc. There's first impressions over there. There's obviously, pre-registration news, CBT news, early access news, all that and more. If you are a gacha gamer, definitely go check out that channel today. Subscribe. It will help us out a ton here at SSS. But back to today's video. So today I'm going to be showing you what team I use to SSS clear the new challenge stage in the third part of the latest summer event that we currently have ongoing. So let's first go over here to Summer Island Mayhem, and you can see right here, ranked challenge. As you can see, if you get an SSS clear, you're going to be getting, some skill books, some recruit tickets, all very good resources that you definitely want to have, and they're free. Definitely try to go in and get as close to SSS as you can, or if you can SSS clear, even better. So the team that I'm actually going to be using, and you will see the fight here in a moment because I already have that pre-recorded so you guys and gals can check it out, is my mono fire team. Now the reason why I want to run a mono fire team is because of the chain point acquisition. So if you look right here, if you run 4 heroes with the same element, you're going to be getting 8 CP every single time that character takes a turn. That is going to greatly help with being able to do more chain abilities. The more chains, the better, because you're going to be able to do more damage. Burst the enemy down and break them as quickly as possible and multiple times perhaps throughout the fight. Now this is a turn restriction mode. You only have so many turns, so you want to be able to get as many chains as possible, so you want to be able to build up as much chain points. So we are running the mono fire team because in my opinion the mono fire team is the most complete team when it comes to being able to build up chains and provide as much damage as possible in a certain amount of turns. The blue team is also very good. The green team is pretty okay. Light and dark obviously are suffering just because there's not as many units out there. So fire overall, in my opinion, is the best for this. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it with other teams or a mixed match of different elements, but for me personally, the mono fire team worked out the best. It was definitely the most consistent and easiest to use. Now, before we actually show the team in action and show you guys my actual fight, let's talk a little bit about the actual boss. Now, don't pay no mind to these 4 heroes here. These are just my units that I use with skip tickets to level up, because you always want to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Always want to do that with your skip tickets. Okay, Deep Sea Guardian. This bad boy has a whopping 411,615 CP. He's got 3,862 attack, 1,439 defense, which is decent amount of defense, and we take care of a lot of that because of our girl Eternal with the defense downs. Very, very helpful. Health is almost 310,000, which means if you are trying to do a lot of chains with your Demiurge Stella or your Lapis, that might also do very well in here because you're actually going to be able to make use of their chain ability, being able to do that max HP damage. You're going to be doing a little over 30k every single time, which is not bad. As long as you can chain consistently, that should also work. 215 speed. This guy is no joke. So you want to make sure your main DPS, which in my case will be air, is extremely fast. I think my air is somewhere around like 240, 245 somewhere, give or take, with my current gear setup. So I'm definitely making sure that she's fast as possible, right? And we want to make sure that our Valentine is somewhat fast, but not too fast like we normally would for PvP, because we don't want her to use up too many of our turns. And we also don't want our girl Tio to use up too many turns as well. She's not even really as necessary here, but she does help in certain clutch situations. So she's not as important. So thus we have her kind of slow for this particular fight. And then Eternal, I have her kind of like mid-level speed, like maybe between 160 to 180, somewhere around in that range, because we don't need her to go as often either. As long as we are applying the speed down, the defense down, etc., we're getting enough out of her to allow our air to go in and do pretty much the majority of the workload. Obviously, crit chance, crit damage is always the same usually. Accuracy 500. So if you're trying to do some kind of evasion cheese, forget about it. 150 evasion, 200 effectiveness, and 260 resilience. So you will need to put a little bit of resilience on your heroes if you are trying to consistently land debuffs, or you will get resisted. Now, immunities, immune to frozen, stun, petrify, silence, and taunt. Skill info. So we have Humboldt Smash. Attacks all enemies and has a 50% chance to inflict reduced speed on the target for 2 turns. So again, Teal was in there kind of to help, take care of that issue, because you don't want your whole team going too slow, especially with an enemy that has base 215 speed, right? Because that's just not going to go well. Colossal Splash. Attacks all enemies and has a 40% chance to inflict silence on the target for 2 turns. Now, unfortunately, if your Teal gets hit with that silence, you cannot activate her passive. And grants increased effectiveness and speed to the caster for 2 turns. So even more effectiveness. So by 100%, and if the effectiveness is 200, whoo, that's a lot. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a lot of effectiveness. 400 effectiveness is kind of insane. You're basically doubling up on that. Increase speed by 30%. And if it's already over 200, that's a lot of speed as well. So air going in there and removing the buffs as well is going to be very, very strong. We got Cutter here. Attacks all enemies and grants increased attack to the caster for 2 turns. Increased damage dealt proportional to the number of debuffs on the target. Right here we got the Deep Sea Squid. Increases damage taken from fire enemies, which is going to play even more into wanting to run the fire team outside of the things I've already said about it, by 30%, and increases damage taken from single target attacks by 20%, which makes air even better. Reduce damage taken from area attacks by 30% and increase priority by 20% when hit. So there you go. There you go. The Enraged becomes enraged every 4 turns. Enraged grants an irremovable effect to the caster that increases attack and reduce damage taken for 3 turns, and recovers 10% weakness gauge upon becoming enraged. Reduce the enemy's chain point by 15. Enraged lasts for 4 turns. Used when enraged ends, attacks all enemies and has a 100% chance to inflict reduced speed and accuracy on the target for 2 turns. Bypasses resilience to inflict frozen on the target with the highest attack for 1 turn, which of course will not be good for our strongest DPS, which in my case would be air. But essentially, as I said earlier, the mono fire team is like the most complete team for doing, consistent chains and a lot of damage in a limited amount of time. In my opinion, you could argue that with the blue team as well, or some other mixed match. That's fine. But in my opinion, I think the fire team is definitely the way to go right now. Not to mention, you're also getting additional damage buffs for this particular stage, which is going to further help you trying to get an SSS clear. Now that we've talked about the boss and what the boss can and cannot do, and some things that we need to really look forward to when you're talking about building this team out. Again, make your air fast, make your eternal a little bit kind of that mid-level speed, make your I'd say your Valentine maybe 30 or 40 less speed than she usually is for PvP. So she's not going as often. You really want the main focus of your turns to be utilized on your main DPS, which in my case is air. And then of course Teal is in there. It's kind of like a backup option to try and help deal with some of those nasty debuffs. You want her to be as slow as possible on your team. But that is more or less pretty much it, guys and gals. Hopefully you all enjoy the actual fight that's going to be coming up here in a moment. With that, I'm going to leave you all. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, take notifications. Join me in the Discord in the description below as always. And check us out on Twitter at SSS Media. And again, check out our second channel, SSS Media. We have lots of good stuff over there for y'all to check out. Until next time, peace.